From New York and on the new Hot 97 app, Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
It's Ebro in the morning. The beautiful Laura Stiles, Rosenberg, looking amazing and looking more amazing than all of us, and we're all underdressed. Maya's here.
Yay, Maya.
You're vegan, and that's fur.
This is faux fur.
Faux fur, got it. And that's not leather.
Nope, no suede, no leather.
Come on, fam.
Hey.
You know.
I mean, I'm just checking.
I lost like 30 pounds, and I was like 156. And my skin cleared up. I felt better. I was getting proper rest, more energy. And I said, hey, there's something to this. And even my doctor was like, what are you doing? And I said, I'm vegan. And that was still foreign to her. So
Foreign to your doctor?
Yeah.
How many years ago was this?
Just a few.
2014 when I first started.
Foreign to a doctor. That's bonkers. It's bonkers how many doctors are out here that are completely not plugged into the benefits of eating and like.
Well, no one's really trained in nutrition. You know,
But it's
Nutritionists
not.
are, right?
Is it rocket science to
I think.
It's
well,
not.
that's disrespectful to
rocket scientists?
Well, no, to nutritionists, because it's a whole path that you have to do. Doctors are used to dealing with the ramifications of your nutrition, but not programming your nutrition.
And treating it with drugs, you know,
Right.
but not necessarily a diet. So I started sharing it on Instagram because people kept asking me, what are you doing? And it turned into a challenge last year, starting with the first quarter of 7 days, 14 in the second quarter, 21 in the third, and in the fourth quarter, 28 days a month. And I challenged myself further last year with the raw vegan diet.
Oh,
because
man.
I was not the
For
healthiest
how long?
vegan.
How long did you?
That's heavy duty.
Well, every quarter I advanced. So I started with 7 days a month.
Okay,
in
got
the
it. That's what you
first, advanced to 14, then 21, and then finally in the fourth quarter, 28 days a month. So I went to the graduation of raw veganism last year. And that is a whole nother level that I felt benefits from. So
Was it difficult though? Was that one actually pretty hard?
Initially, because I love to cook, I love seasoning, I love hot foods. You know, in the winter, it was really challenging for me because you just want a bowl of hot soup.
Right,
So wait, raw veganism is
Not cooked food past 118 degrees, but you get the most nutrients and enzymes from a raw vegan diet.
So you're like steaming the vegetables, not even.
Under a certain temperature, under
Okay.
118 degrees, yeah. Once it's past 118 degrees, you're killing off the nutrients and
Right.
enzymes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can't get there with you. There's a lot of things I could do.
That's why I started slow, just 7 days a month. And
How do
then
you-
I progressed.
How do you feel about medicine?
Well, I mean, when it's absolutely necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But on a regular basis, I feel like you can prevent a lot of ailments by your lifestyle, whether it's your household products or what you're putting into your body, on your skin, etc. So
You do no Advil for headaches?
occasionally I have to.
Occasionally you do.
What do you say to those people? What do you say to those people who go, "You're gonna die anyway"?
Well, that's a part of life, but you want to make sure that while you're living, you're alive and you feel alive. And a lot of things that we expose ourselves to, even energy, will affect how you feel. So live the best life as possible is my motto. And yes, we're all going to die, but
How you die,
When you die.
when you die,
yeah, are
better
you
in
going
your
to be
odds,
in pain?
right? Yeah.
You know, can you take care of your children and be the best that you can be for the next generation? What are you passing down? Can you heal your family? You just want to live the best fruitful life while you're here. Life is very short, but
And for the women watching, or some women I've heard who say, you know, I don't want to change my diet because I don't want to lose my boobs, or I don't want to lose my ass, or I
No.
don't want to lose my curves.
you don't have to do
Did
that.
you? How did you do?
I
Things-
lost weight in the right places, but
Okay.
once you lose the fat from your body, you can begin sculpting. And if you want to sculpt your body, you push weights. I do weight training, and that helps a lot to keep the curves. But you add some carbs in there. Carbs as far as beans go, or quinoa, wild rice. Those things keep the weight on you. You know,
So
even
you were
as
conscious.
a raw.
You were conscious of your hip, because your hip game has been something we've all as men celebrated
Well,
for a long
age,
time.
You know, it's age.
Yeah.
And when I first came out, I was like, 18 years old. And so I've grown into a woman. And so that's always there, plus gravity. But you don't necessarily have to lose anything when you're vegan. Now, raw vegan, you will lose more weight. But if you're in the gym and adding weights to your routine and doing specific exercises to sculpt, it's easier to sculpt when you've shed the fat.
How hard was the transition for you from the remixes hits that you had. I mean, you had Silk the Shocker, you had Jay-Z. I'm trying to think of, you were on Lady Marmalade.
If you want to go through the order, I'll go through the order for you. Keep in mind, I was on college radio in DC in College Park. You're from Greenbelt, right?
Hey.
Yeah, I know it all. Anyways,
So go.
All About You popped off. Moving On, Silk the Shocker, poppin'. Rugrats soundtrack, Take You There, which was a smash, which was
Super
like a pop
smash.
And then some little gap before Best of Me in terms of like hits.
But
That generally covers it, right?
I read that all of those were songs.
Oh, well, of course, Moulin Rouge later, yeah.
Well, I read that all of those remixes were like songs you weren't in the studio with those artists. Like they were just like remixes that were done.
Yeah, things were just going so fast. A lot of the features didn't take place with the artists, except for Ghetto Superstar and Lady Marmalade.
Skip Ghetto Superstar.
But
Classic.
Jadakiss and I were not in the studio. Jay-Z and I were not in the studio. Beanie Man and I were not in the studio together. We've all performed together at some point, but you know, things are moving and each artist has their own schedule and they're all over the place. And when things pop off in this business, you're gone. Yeah.
But so then things slow down, right? And so the industry's changing. Talk to us about that transition. Like what happened with the label, and then where did you go? And
oh, okay. Well, Interscope was the first major label I was signed to, and I was signed to a rap and rock label. So ultimately, I was a test, the first R&B artist on their catalog and their roster, and it stuck. And it did very well, but at some point when the industry began changing and rap took over, R&B was sort of a question mark. And so Jimmy and I have a great relationship, Jimmy Iovine, and I mentioned to him that maybe I should transition within the Universal system to a very supportive label as far as R&B, someone that understood my music, because he really didn't know what to do as far as R&B is concerned. And my label independently that I was signed to, which was University Music Entertainment, got terminated for whatever.
Who ran University again?
Haq Islam.
Haq Islam, right,
and so then I became directly signed to Interscope with no family. And so I was kind of there by myself trying to navigate. And it can get very difficult on a rap and rock label that really doesn't specialize in R&B, but it was a great label. Major budget, radio team on point, so there was nothing personal, but I was just transitioning into the Universal system, into Motown, which was obviously huge in soul and R&B, and it was great. I got to craft an album called Liberation under Sylvia Rhone. Creatively, it was amazing. And the album accidentally got released in Japan when the release date changed. So that one territory put it out anyways. And then it leaked online from there, and then it was shelved.
What year was this?
2007.
Oh, so this was
the
really
fourth
when the
album.
labels were going through a lot of transition. The internet was,
layoffs,
a
all
lot
of
of that.
stuff. And so that's what happened. No bad blood, but I decided that I didn't want to go to court to get the back end of my advance. Court is very draining, and I've been in court and
expensive
litigation before. And I just said, well, I'll try the independent movement, and I got to work immediately. I didn't take any breaks. To date, I haven't taken any breaks. The 13th studio project comes out this year, next month, actually, on 4/20. And I put out my first project a year later in Japan because they loved what leaked over there. Right. And that first project I did independently, learn how to executive produce, do all of my contracts, publishing split sheets, metadata. And that was through a company called Manhattan over there in Japan. So I've released 3 projects in Japan, and that's how I learned how to just be an independent artist and label. And that's the year that I started Planet 9, which is my label. And then I came over here in 2009 and released my first mixtape called Beauty in the Streets with Jay Prince via Rap-A-Lot and Planet 9.
I didn't even know that. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, that was, and I recorded in 5th Ward. And so I have some roots in Houston, Texas, 5th Ward. So it was like a Houston, Texas, DC collaboration.
And for those watching, 5th Ward is a show that's coming to the Urban Movie Channel. Am I saying it right?
Yes, UMC.TV.
Yeah, and you're in a project called 5th Ward, which is about Houston.
Yes, 5th Ward is a historical black neighborhood in Houston, Texas, in the heart of Houston, Texas. And like I said earlier, I've spent over a year recording there with Houston artists, working with Jay Prince, who was the first man in hip-hop to own his own masters, who I modeled my whole label after. And so that experience led me to want to do the television show, and also experiencing the heart of that. It is out now. It airs every Friday on UMC TV. The television show is
so it's not a movie. This is a
It's a series.
This is a series.
It's
Okay.
a drama. And I play the role of a single mother struggling to make ends meet to take care of my sons after the murder of my husband 2 years prior. And it's probably one of the most difficult roles I've taken on as an actress. And it's about everyday life and the human experience when your back is up against the wall and what choices you're left to make for survival, really. And obviously, some of the issues that plague the inner city communities all over the United States. And so I had to take all of that into consideration when thinking about young black men and the sons that I'm raising in the Houston 5th Ward and some of the things that they're challenged with while growing up. From police brutality to the temptation of the dope game and the consequences that can follow that. And so, yeah, I'm not a mother yet, but I do have brothers. And to prepare for that role, I just looked into Houston, my experience there, as well as where I'm from, D.C., and delivered. So a lot of the fans on social media, they're saying, this is really strange to see you as a mother, but it's very interesting, and I wasn't prepared to see you in this light, because really I am really faced with some dire situations, and if I don't take advantage of those opportunities, then I have dire consequences. So it's really interesting to see the arc of that story.
You mentioned fans, and I think it's interesting because you are an artist. People throw the word fans around willy-nilly, like it's kind of just like, oh, they're fans, when some people are just followers, right? You have an Instagram follower, doesn't always translate as a fan. But because your career has taken turns and gone different places, I feel like the people who are already watching this show are true fans of you. Like, do you feel that you have a base that has sort of followed along this entire sort of journey?
I do have some hardcore fans that know everything more than I know about myself, and it's great. They have experienced the journey, the ups and downs, the left turns, right turns, the turbulent times, and seeing me fight and remind me of that. It's very encouraging to know that I have people in my corner that are there and have their 2 cents and input as far as what they want to hear next. We live in a day of social media and connectivity, and there's nothing like it, and it's perfect for the independent artist, the major artist, people in general, because they can ultimately be a part of your navigation, but also what you're doing next and what you're preparing for. So I think it's pretty cool.
Obligatory financial question.
Why is it obligatory?
Because I have to. When I've never met an artist before, I have to know what hit, I'm always curious, has done the best for you, because you've obviously always had a really nice life. Since you were at the biggest level you were at musically, you've always been good. And the Rugrats record was really big. Ghetto Superstar was a monstrous hit that is still played. Like, you could be in
monstrous is short for monstrosity.
Sorry. You could be, that's not a word. You could be in a Macy's tomorrow and hear Ghetto Superstar. And the same goes with Lady Marmalade. So which ones?
It's so hard to say, because in different places around the world, different songs resonate.
Give us some examples of what resonates where.
Ghetto Superstar is a massive hit worldwide. Lady
That's
Marmalade as
everywhere.
well.
Those
but
are
Lady
everywhere.
Marmalade was a hit prior to us, the girls and I, recording it via Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. It's really hard because you have different markets, and I think the fact that Ghetto Superstar allowed me to be
Let me help
the sweet
this
voice
out.
around the
Where's
rappers.
your biggest check coming from?
Honestly, from independence, because I own my masters.
Because you own so much more.
I was
Right,
always
right,
in
right.
debt with the major label, but the major labels helped me become the brand or the product and establish
Lady
my
Marmalade,
name.
and sorry, Lady Marmalade, you don't get publishing.
get nothing.
You you guys didn't,
Yeah,
right?
we don't get publishing from a lot of that stuff.
Right.
So there's never really been the major
Ghetto Superstar
check.
also is a huge sample.
Right.
Do multiple samples.
Yeah. There are a few big ones there.
Yeah, the independent route has actually been more rewarding for me financially, because I see everything, I generate everything, I have to spend and finance everything, but I keep 100% of my money. Even if you have small sales, I've seen more reward from that route versus being
Sure.
in debt, because the budgets are a lot bigger, but you're also responsible for that recoupment, and it may take a lifetime to pay that off. And so I was always in debt, millions of dollars, because of the investment that was made into me.
Especially at a major like Interscope, where
and that it's necessary to establish you as a brand in this very competitive world of music.
Speaking of Lady Marmalade, I pulled up the video. Tell us about working with the girls.
Oh,
because I read that
yeah.
you were like the peacekeeper when Pink and Christina Aguilera were
That's
getting all
crazy.
catty.
I keep hearing this in every interview. There was no drama that I actually witnessed or experienced. You know,
Because at that time, that's when they had their little differences.
I'm like, where's this cat fight?
Yeah.
You know, I think people usually want to know about that and want things to be
Or it's
messy when there's
generated for
multiple
marketing.
females involved.
It's generated for
But
marketing.
no,
yeah.
I didn't witness any of that. All the girls were wonderful to work with. Kim was a riot, as always. She's so sweet. Christina was bomb. You know, Pink and I worked together after that on the third album. Missy, obviously talented, and then we all got to perform with the Queen. You know, Patti LaBelle. So I didn't experience any drama. If it did take place, I didn't even feel it. We were just going.
What about the
We
call to
recorded-
get that record though? That had to be crazy. Like when they tell you who else was on that,
Yeah.
that's a great record. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they could have gotten that wrong, and when we look back, other blank R&B singer from that time had gotten the nod to be on. Like that's a pretty cool thing that you ended up on that tune.
Yeah, it's awesome. I perform it at every show possible.
You wear the outfit,
No,
like
that
heels,
outfit was very painful.
lingerie.
Oh, because
No,
you
I
had the
don't
L
wear that
corset,
outfit.
right?
No,
Did you ever break out the outfit from the All About You video?
Honestly, I just celebrated the 20th anniversary of that song, February 14th this year. And I went to the same studio, Madeline Clark in Los Angeles, California, that day where I rehearsed for that video. And I put the outfit on. My mother FedExed it to me in
Wow.
California.
Wow.
And why did I fit it?
That's
I fit it,
amazing.
except for the skirt. My hips are a little wider, so the skirt was a lot shorter. But I got into it. I thought I wouldn't be able to get my arms into it. But
And you were what, like 17, 18 when you did that?
17 when I shot the video, 18 when it came out.
Where's the Best of Me outfit?
It's somewhere in the archives in the wardrobe.
You had a
room.
throwback on in that throwback jersey on in that video, didn't you?
Yeah.
Who keeps
North
a lot
Carolina,
of this stuff? Your
my
mom?
mother.
Okay.
She keeps all the awards, the plaques, and the outfits. Yeah.
So I've watched multiple interviews where the rumor of your alleged relationship or whatever it was with Jay-Z, where you've denied it.
Oh my God.
But what I find more interesting is you've never really, other than that rumor, ever been tied to anyone in the industry, right? That I know of.
Oh boy, I mean, there's a whole list a mile long of people that I've been attached to, and it's usually the people I've done videos
Right.
and songs with.
Right.
You know, which is not
how-
the case.
That's
but-
so that's so lazy.
Well, that's super
That's
lazy.
a terrible
and then
look.
other people I haven't even met. So.
Well, but that's where I'm going. So I guess, you know, since it's all of those things are untrue, right? How is a woman who's as beautiful as you are avoided those things? Have you dated anyone in the industry that maybe
Yeah.
we don't know about?
I had 2 boyfriends in the industry, like
Got it.
relationships. But, you know, I never say names because I respect my
Yeah.
relationships and what we've gone through. I'll share the experience because it's something that I am supposed to share regarding whether it's hurt and pain or getting over something or what has been done. And I take accountability and responsibility as well if I'm at fault. But I never share the names because I still respect them. Anyone I was involved with, you know, that's between us. And so people have linked me to a lot of people.
Cisco.
And
It's all about you. I
assume-
remember.
Really? That was your game, Cisco? I don't remember that one.
And assume, no.
What about Jada?
I don't know. I was
I've
just
never
kidding
heard
about
that
Cisco
I
because
don't
he was in
think
the
I've
first
ever heard
video.
that. But I also think that people project what they want to see for you because it's a fly look or, you know, I could see that happening.
Right.
And it's cute, you know, it could be cute. But they want to know you. They want to feel that they know you and have a piece of your life beyond just your song.
Well,
beyond
especially
just
'cause you
your
keep it so
video.
private.
Well, yeah, because I respect learning to get to know another person.
So none of
before I
them
just
rappers
put it
tried to holler
out
at you?
there.
None of them rappers
She
tried
didn't
to
say
holler?
tried.
Fam,
A lot
I'm
of people are
sure
gonna
all of
try.
them.
So how did you navigate? Like, well, I mean, you're young
I've
in the
been
game.
so
Hov is
busy.
hollering, or this one's hollering, or that one's hollering.
She
Like,
was like,
Been
"That's
very busy, you know, and as an independent artist, even more busy, you know, and
wasn't your dad was more part of? Wasn't your dad more part of managing you back when you were younger too?
well, when I first started,
Yeah,
but
when you
my
first
parents
started.
got a divorce at the top of my first single release, and I was with strangers from that point on for about 5 years. So my family kind of deteriorated at the release of my first song.
Wow.
And even my dad and I were not on speaking terms for like 5 to 7 years because of my parents' issues. So I had to kind of figure out the business myself and in life myself, but it happens, and it's a beautiful thing. Time heals wounds, and I have a very close relationship with both of my parents now. I brought them both into my business, keeping them separate.
Right.
But
They still don't
With
talk.
you,
know,
not
but
with each
it,
other.
it was also the dynamic of me being a young child and the whole dynamic of father listening to daughter. This is how I want things. My dad and I have gotten into multiple arguments at the cusp of me becoming a woman because I have to run a business and he would have to listen to me, and we would bump heads, and we're both Libras. We're all Libras. My mother's a Libra. My
boy.
father's a Libra. I'm a Libra. Ooh.
Super
So,
sensitive.
yeah, it was crazy. And so everything's functional now. I've figured it out, how to include everybody but keep them separate.
Are you an only child?
I don't feel like my question got answered, but that's fine.
Oh, what was the question?
How did you avoid
Oh.
these relationships that, with rappers or whomever that, people allege?
You want to know how
so
she
you
lets
say-
people down?
No, just how, because I
curve?
know a lot of young women are coming up in the game, right? And I know a lot of young women get approached by men in this business, right? And they think, oh, maybe I should date this guy because it'll advance my career, or maybe I should be in this relationship because it's great for the blogs and clicks, or
that's,
et cetera, et cetera.
you have to understand your intention. My intention has always been love and connection with a person beyond anything else. And I've been so private because I didn't want it to make or break me or to be a public stunt. And I've really fired a lot of managers, that had that mindset, or publicists that had that mindset of, oh, you need to go on a date with this person because it's going to help album sales. No, thank you. That's not my flow. I don't like it. I understand it from that perspective, but
How ridiculous is if you were this is obviously not you. The person that you are, you make very clear, and it's a very impressive. You're in an awesome spot, right? And like your grace, it's all very clear. I know you would never do this, but if you were to be like, you know what, Petty Maya is going to air out the list of people. How long would the list? No, I'm making up this person. You decided you were going to be like Love and Hip Hop. Petty Maya is created.
see,
How long would the list be of air out of people to this day
That try
who
to
are
holler?
still hollering?
I mean, obviously,
DMs are crazy.
exes try to holler and get back in because life is a little better now without them. But,
That's always how it happens.
a lot better. I don't know, because I don't really entertain anything. There's so much blockage happening. I don't know what that list consists of, but I know that a couple of exes have come back around, like 3, to try to holler and get back in.
Well, they're waiting for you to fall off. They keep checking the IG. They're like, she must, because you check your exes every few years,
Oh,
and when you
God.
check, sometimes you go, oh,
Is that
it
what you
finally
do?
happened.
Is that what you do?
They fell off. They keep checking on Maya, like, please make me feel better about this. She
I
looked
don't
better than the
know.
last time I looked.
Oh,
You're
boy, I
killing
don't know.
them.
I don't really know.
So are you
I don't
single
pay-
now?
I am single. I'm very focused, celibate, like all that.
And now, is that because the last relationship was tumultuous and you just needed a cleanse, or are you opting for all of these things because it
You
just
know,
keeps your
sometimes-
business sense?
I feel like
Focus.
I've just gotten clarity over the past decade, but also I did have a relationship that was dysfunctional. And I left that situation late 2013. And it taught me a lot of things. It was very necessary to gain a different type of hunger, thirst, and passion for what I do. And it was also a wake-up call to never put anyone first, before God, before yourself, before your family. And I could have lost everything dealing with loving another person and trying to nurse them back to health. I was losing myself in that. And I think when you lose a bit of yourself and almost lose it all, you correct yourself. So I don't blame the other person. I had to fix whatever was going on with me mentally. Maybe I had a weak moment, but I'm always checking myself. That's why I'm always doing these crazy challenges and putting myself through veganism. So I know I can always bounce back and take something away from my life. But when you take something away, I've learned that you also gain something. What that something is, I don't know, but you always gain. And I'm very clear on what I want, and it's an energy thing. It's an energy thing. It's a vibrational, it's a frequency thing. And I never want to be in that position again, in business and personal, because I have a family to take care of. I am the caretaker. And it falls on me at the end of the day, and I care more about my family than, someone that's trying to break me or use all of my energy for themselves.
You still, you're a marijuana legalization advocate?
I am. I am.
Are you, do you also do that as far as when you're feeling your energy with whomever, you guys got to sit down, partake in a little weed, you and another person vibe off each other and...
Well, I'm not really a smoker.
Oh, you're not?
Occasionally I will.
But more medicinal then?
Well, yeah, I do the teas. I have tincture oils. If I'm in rehearsals or training, I try not to take any medicine as much as possible. But I do tincture oils, even sprays. And
what are they called? T-shirt oil?
Tincture.
Tincture.
THC.
Did you guys think she said T-shirt?
Not the CBD ones, right?
Yeah, non-psychoactive. I'm certified in the state of California. I can grow it if I want to, but I can also, purchase. And, I believe in anything from nature. And I'm all for the plant. My album's coming out on 4/20, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that was like
it's
not
my
a
20th
coincidence.
anniversary of the first album.
Wow.
Got it.
4/20. So
Wait, that actual day?
4/21, but music is
decided-
released on Fridays, so
Right. So
they get it a day early on 4/20.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. 20 years.
20 years.
Yesterday I have a box of cassettes from my old college radio shows, and literally yesterday, and I was like, that's so funny. Thought about bringing it in, except I don't think we have a cassette deck at the radio
I don't think
station.
so.
I saw the cassette that just says Maya on it, which I think has I think I did a phoner with you, which is on there, and her album dubbed on cassette from CD.
That's so lit.
20 years ago, man. That's crazy. You have seen multiple transitions of this game. By the way, what's the situation in which you hit is there ever a setting in which you just come out and hit Best of Me remix? Because from a club standpoint, that's the one that still to this day...
It's a hip-hop classic.
It's a hip-hop classic at this point.
Yeah.
So how often do you bust that one out? Is that every show?
It depends on the type of show it is. If it's a corporate event, usually those people don't know that song, but some people do. The corporate events are more so productions, and they get more theatrics and theater. But the clubs still play that song to this day. And they appreciate it. For the hip hop heads, classic hip hop, R&B, it's across the board. Absolutely.
What's the new album called again?
TKO, The Knockout.
The Knockout. And why? And what's the knockout? Who's the knockout?
It's a quadruple entendre.
Quadruple? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me think. The Knockout.
Well, yes.
It's about you being a knockout.
Well, I have a series of albums that I've recorded.
Okay.
This one is the slow jams. And so in that sense, people want R&B. My fans have requested R&B. They're getting a mid-tempo slow jams project with the Knockout. But it also is displaying the fact that I'm very vulnerable in a situation and contemplating stepping into the territory of love. And until you get the second album that follows this, you won't know the dynamic of me taking a chance on this situation, which ultimately knocks me out.
Got it. So it's a part of a story.
It's a part of the story.
And this is part one.
Part one, yes.
So we're gonna get more Maya.
Falling, yeah.
Falling. What do you mean?
Falling into love.
Falling into
Oh, I
love.
forgot about the song Falling.
Yes.
That was a good record too.
You're like a Maya fan, bro.
Well, she was from DC is not that big. So like when you had art when I at the time I was becoming
say
a
yes.
DJ, yeah, I was a big fan. DC was really putting on for Maya hard. Like there was not who else was even from the area when you came out.
Oh, a lot of
Anne Marie
people.
a couple years later popped.
Drew Hill, Baltimore.
Different
Tony
ballgame for me.
Braxton, Baltimore. The Braxtons, Baltimore. Pure Soul was a gospel girl group from DC. They were actually signed to the label University Music Entertainment, as well as Drew Hill. Genuine.
Yeah, Genuine.
He was 96
He was a little bit before.
or 97. Yeah. Johnny Gill, a lot of people.
So basically,
Johnny
she
Gill
just
did-
crushed your whole thing.
No,
and
she
basically
didn't.
was
No,
like,
she
you're
didn't.
just
My
a
argument was
stan. You're
proven
just a
by what
fan.
she said. But I am a big
kidding.
fan.
I'm
Yes,
kidding.
I am.
Yeah.
And to that point that you were saying about Interscope, by the way, earlier, and how you didn't fit, it's so funny that you said that.
It's crazy.
Because as a DJ, I remember finding it annoyingly odd to find her vinyl. Like, it shouldn't have been that hard to find some records, and they literally weren't. For how big the songs were, Best of Me was different. That was already later. But the early singles from your album we're not like every day at the record store. And I always found like, is this a weird fit that she exists on this label, even though I didn't understand it at the time.
It was weird.
It was like you just couldn't
Between
find it.
Death Row and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, it was an odd spot to be in.
Wait a minute.
Maya, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you,
And
guys.
salute to
so
you. Look
much.
amazing.
I
Glad to hear all the
appreciate
health
you.
stuff you're doing and the independent work too. That's
Oh,
dope.
thank you.
And you guys make sure you check out her program on the Urban Movie Channel.
Fifth
but
Ward.
it's not a
Fifth
movie.
Ward.
It's a TV show
TV
called Fifth Ward.
series.
Yes.
Every Friday.
Every Friday through April 6th.
Maya, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks, Maya.